So hello everyone, welcome to episode 66 of our Aston Martin save. Now, if you didn't watch Shooter's episode at the American Grand Prix, my word, wasn't it incident-packed. It was a disappointing race for us in the end. If we have a look at the race result, Lando Norris for McLaren won. And Guan Yu Zhou finished second. We had about 4 safety cars. Pierre Gasly was very much in contention for the win. Then he decided to lock up and smash his car up. Fernando Alonso had a spin as well when he was in prime position to get a win, finishing P4. Max Verstappen, you'll notice, finishing in P3. So what does that mean for everything? We've got 3 races left to go. Standings-wise, constructors is the main one. We are just 25 points behind Red Bull. We can win the constructors title. One thing we can't win now is the drivers title. It's 100 points the difference between Gasly and Verstappen. Verstappen looks like he's got it in the bag. So it's all about now, it's all about the team and getting the amount of points we can to win the constructors title. I think that would be a massive, massive achievement for us. And today's race is the Mexican Grand Prix. Now, let's have a quick look at this. Last year we did quite well here. Pierre Gasly won. Fernando Alonso finished 6th. A repeat of that would be welcome. Then we get 71 laps round here. First Grand Prix in 1963. Expected strategy is a one-stop from medium onto hard. I believe we went soft hard last year. We bolted at the start, but then had to manage it effectively. So we may go for the mediums this time round. Car attributes, low speed cornering. We are the second best car on the grid at low speed cornering, so I'm expecting a decent performance here. So I'm going to get through all the practice and we'll see you in qualifying for the Mexican Grand Prix.
Music is in the air this weekend, but it's not mariachi we'll be hearing. It's going to be the roar of the engines and the cheers of the crowd. Formula One is back in the very heart of Mexico City at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. This is an exhilarating circuit on the Formula One calendar. We'll be sure to see plenty of battles and overtaking this weekend, especially with the help of not 1, not 2, but 3 DRS zones. With the season nearly concluded, time is running out for the teams. Can anyone make a last-minute breakthrough? Can the leading drivers hold on? Only time will tell. Okay then, let's get to it.
So we're in for a very interesting weekend. We've got rain forecast on Sunday, but at the moment we've got a lot of grid penalties as well. Both Red Bulls taking grid penalties this weekend. Alonso and Gasly both on their final flying laps and improving on fresh soft compound tyres. Fernando Alonso crosses the line, doesn't improve by enough. Pierre Gasly, let's have a look to see what he can do in P6 at the moment. Can he jump any of the cars in front of him? Pierre Gasly crosses the line and he's up to P4, and I believe the 3 in front of him have all got grid penalties. So I believe that Pierre Gasly will be starting on pole position for this Grand Prix. We have had a look to see if it's worth us taking grid penalties. Alonso's probably the one that we may have a look at, but Pierre Gasly is very much in the fight to win this Grand Prix, especially with those 3 in front of him having grid penalties. So let's have a look at the strategies now and see what we can do. Right, so we've decided no grid penalties. Gasly and Alonso both in very good positions at the start of this Grand Prix. The rain is going to come around lap 15, so it's important that we run the soft compound tyres, push on those, and then get to the intermediate period. And if we can get the pit stops right, we've got a real chance here. But Gasly's going to be told to really go for it early doors, pull away from the pack, and then switch to the inters. Going to be an interesting one, this. Let's get to 5 red lights. Mexican Grand Prix coming right up.
This is it. Here we go with the Mexican Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go.
And away we go, and straight away we are looking at Pierre Gasly, the man who was on pole position. We are going to tell him to deploy Max Verstappen. We thought had a grid penalty, but apparently has not. He's still in P2. So he's going to cause some grief at the start of this Grand Prix. Pierre Gasly is on the soft compound tyre. The next soft compound tyre runner is Fernando Alonso. So both our cars are going to be quick at the start of this Grand Prix. And then obviously once we get towards the wet weather, I didn't feel the mediums were worth sticking to, but Gasly straight away has kept on to P1. Alonso has lost the position to Bottas and Russell at the start of this Grand Prix. The Mercedes have looked quick all weekend, it must be said. So Fernando Alonso on these soft compound tyres has got to make this work. Gasly already pulling out 0.6 of a second on the cars in front. We're going to save Fernando Alonso's DRS for the moment. Gasly, he's been told to run away from Max Verstappen because we know that when this rain comes in around, 15 laps time, we want to be clear of the Dutchman. So lap 1, it's Gasly from Verstappen, Leclerc's in 3rd, Russell P4, Alonso, he's having a look at Russell but can't quite get past him at the moment, Bottas in P6, Sainz P7, Albon P8, Ocon P9, Sergio Perez down in P10. And on lap 2, we've got a safety car. Let's just have a little look at what's happened here. We're going to tell our guys to conserve on everything and see what we can do from there. Let's have a look at this crash now.
So let's look at this.
So what we got here, we've got the Red Bull and the Haas going at it. And it's the Red Bull, is it? No, it's the Haas who takes out the Red Bull. That could be massive for the Constructors title. Absolutely massive for the Constructors. And that is Sergio Perez. Is he out? Completely out of the Grand Prix? Let's have a quick look now. Sergio Perez is out of the Mexican Grand Prix, out of his home Grand Prix. What a disappointment for Sergio Perez in the home crowd, but what a big moment in the Constructors standings, because now Red Bull are down to a single car, but that car is Max Verstappen. We have got a safety car, as we said, so we're just charging up the battery for Pierre Gasly. He's going to have to bolt again once the safety car comes in, but at this moment in time, it's P1 for Gasly, P5 for Alonso. So lap 4, safety car is ending. So it's going to be Pierre Gasly to lead us away once again. He's been told to deploy on the ERS. This has only helped us in terms of the tyres getting towards that wet weather period. Fernando Alonso has been told to overtake as well. We reckon we can get Fernando up the grid a little bit here. So Fernando Alonso, big job to do. Pierre Gasly, it's not the best safety car restart he could have hoped for, but Fernando Alonso, we're going to ride on board with his point of view because he's already having a look up the inside, but the Mercedes seem to have the pace on us this weekend, and on Fernando Alonso especially. Is Fernando Alonso going to rule not taking any grid penalties and a new engine this weekend? We shall have to see. But at the moment, Fernando Alonso, we were hoping he was going to be moving forward. He's moving backwards at the moment. But Pierre Gasly has had a decent restart, it must be said. He's now looking to run away again. So lap 5 after the restart, it's Gasly from Verstappen, Leclerc, Russell, Bottas, Alonso down in P6, Sainz P7, Albon, Ocon, Danny Ricciardo in P10. Remember, Sergio Perez, the homeboy, is out of his home Grand Prix. And on lap 6, new fastest lap of the Grand Prix, Pierre Gasly. Yes, we were using the ERS. We're going to switch it back down to neutral now. But that's a fantastic bit of work from Pierre Gasly. He's had some decent pace all weekend. Not quite the Red Bull pace. But Fernando Alonso is in a very, very different race to his teammates at the moment. He's battling with these Mercs and Ferraris. But Fernando Alonso has got to do a solid job today. We need good double points. But Pierre Gasly, 1.4, the gap to Verstappen. Another big moment in this Grand Prix, and it is George Russell, who's just had a spin coming out of the stadium section. It didn't affect Fernando Alonso, but it certainly affected George Russell. George Russell back down to P18. Pierre Gasly is on an absolute flyer at the moment. 2.4 seconds now to Max Verstappen is the gap. We can see the storm clouds are coming. We are expecting rain very, very shortly. Fernando Alonso in P5 looking very healthy. What the nice thing for us here is that the double stack isn't going to be too much of a problem either. The gap we've got, we should be able to get Gasly in and then Fernando Alonso in as well. But we are expecting rain imminently here in Mexico. And on lap 9, just as we finish that, Fernando Alonso decided he's had enough attack behind Charles Leclerc and he gets past him beautifully. And if we switch back to the live camera, which we will do now, he's also very much on the back of Valtteri Bottas and he's using overtake at this moment. He's going to get DRS. Valtteri Bottas isn't. Let's have a look. See how close he can get here. He's using DRS as well. Is he going to go for a move into the stadium section? He isn't. We're just going to switch it onto neutral there because the likelihood is we will follow this live with Fernando, because we reckon he's going to get him down this start finish straight and he should be up into P3. Fernando Alonso using these soft compound tyres to a T. We're just going to switch both our guys back to standard on the fuel at this moment in time. But this could be a moment for Fernando Alonso. He's using all the DRS down this straight. Is he going to be able to get Valtteri Bottas into this corner? It looks like he is. What a move from Fernando Alonso. He's not quite finished this off just yet, but he should get another helping of DRS down this next straight, which he will. and that will seal the move. Beautiful work from Fernando. Aston Martin running 1 and 3 at this moment in time. Lap 13, Fernando Alonso cooking on gas. He's currently up to P3 and he's just set the new fastest lap of the Grand Prix. We've told our guys to be on aggressive on the tyres because we might as well. We're not going to be using the softs again in this Grand Prix, so why not go for it? Lap 13 and the rain is starting. We will be looking at pit stops very shortly. Here we go then, it's been a rainy lap 13, it must be said, but Pierre Gasly and Fernando Alonso will both be coming in this lap. They're crawling round at the moment, but Pierre Gasly is in. We're going to watch both these pit stops on this highlight. And Max Verstappen's in as well, as you would expect. So we need good pit stops from the crew here. It's vitally important. I can't see anybody stopping out. I'm saying that Leclerc and Bottas look like they've gone on for another lap. That's going to cost them massively in this Grand Prix. Let's have a look. Pierre Gasly, it's not a bad stop. And is he going to get away? He is. And Fernando Alonso will then be in for his. That's absolute clockwork. It's worked very, very well for us, that. Let's just keep an eye on Alonso. Does he get held? He doesn't. Good work from the team there. Both pit stops. We exit 4 and 6. But in the lead on the road because the guys in front have all got to pit and they're going to lose a hell of a lot of time here. These guys in front. Fernando Alonso, though, now in a very good position as well. Pierre Gasly has just got to be careful. If he gets caught between any of these cars, he needs to get past them as quickly as he possibly can. He's catching up to 2 more cars in front of him, but if we can negotiate these, we'll be absolutely loving life. But as you can see, them going side by side is really not helping matters, and it's letting Max Verstappen catch up to us. Gasly's going left and right, but can't seem to find a gap to get past them. This is not working well. Pierre Gasly, we're going to tell him to overtake as well and get past now. And if he can dart to the inside of this Mercedes, that would be very helpful as well. Let's have a look. He's looking left and right, trying to get past this Mercedes that's just blocking us off. And this is one thing that really doesn't work well on this game. We see things like this holding cars up, but Gasly is now through. Great work from him. Fernando Alonso, is he coming up to anybody? He's managed to get past Alex Albon, no problem. But what this has done, he's managed to get Fernando Alonso back up with Max Verstappen. So Max Verstappen now is going to have Fernando Alonso on the back of him out of this next corner. Great work from Fernando. Those cars, they've not really helped Pierre Gasly, but they have really helped Fernando Alonso. It's 6 seconds the gap to Verstappen now. Alonso, gap to Sainz, 1.4 seconds. Lovely work, 1-3 for Aston Martin. Interesting times here, lap 22. Max Verstappen is quicker than Gasly and Alonso in the rain, it must be said. But 2.3 seconds now the gap to Verstappen. It's currently dry on track at this moment in time. We're expecting some more rain. It's going to be interesting to see if anybody dives into the pits here. I wouldn't suggest that they will. Let's have a look. We're obviously not going to come in with Gasly. Is Verstappen going to pit? He isn't either, no. So we're expecting it to turn dry towards the end. It's going to be interesting if we decide to go for another set of inters in the middle. I think we're just going to stick it out here. I don't see the point if it's going to turn dry towards the end. But we could do with some more rain because Verstappen is just in a league of his own at the moment. Alonso's got the pace on Sainz, definitely. Somehow George Russell's got his DRS open. But yeah, a little bit strange at this moment in time. We've also been having a little look at Verstappen. We looked before the Grand Prix and saw that he possibly should have had a grid penalty for an engine change. It looks like he's took that engine change, but there wasn't a grid penalty. So we're feeling a little bit hard done by here at Aston Martin at the moment. But at this moment in time, it's still Gasly and Alonso, but Verstappen is on the charge. Lap 23. Lap 25, Max Verstappen. I don't think we can hold him off here. We may lose more time battling Max at this moment in time than just letting him go, because if we look at the bigger picture, which is something we've got to look at this moment, second and third for the constructors would be very important, and the fastest lap as well for Fernando. We're going to keep an eye on this for the moment, but I think it's just a case Verstappen with that fresh engine is going to manage to get past him, but he's not going to do it on this start-finish straight. Decisions to be made, but it's 8 seconds to Alonso in third, who's got quite a nice gap to George Russell, who somehow managed to get himself back up into P4 after that early spin. So he's obviously had a blinding pit stop. Being at the back though, maybe as that rain came down, he got a better, more of the track on the inside, should I say. So Russell's not done too bad, but Fernando holding him off at the moment and looking pretty comfortable in P3.
Max Verstappen.
And as we can see, Max Verstappen does finally get past him. I'm not too upset about that. He gets it done. We can't really defend it. So it's now 5 attempts that he's already pulled out on Pierre Gasly. So it's second and third for Alonso and Gasly at the moment. Alonso maintaining the gap to Russell. We just don't want any errors in this Grand Prix. I think second and third we'd be quite happy with. 1.8 seconds. 1.8 mil of water on the track. It's drying up a little bit, but we are expecting some more rain shortly. Like I said, will the AI box and us not? That's something that we've got to look at. So, long way to go here. Lap 28, it's Verstappen from Gasly, Alonso P3, Russell P4, Sainz P5, Ocon 6, Magnussen 7, Norris and Zhou can't be separated at the moment in this series. 8th and 9th for them. Sebastian Vettel picking up P10 in the Renault Alpine. Lap 28. Lap 30, big moment for Carlos Sainz. He's just locked up. It's quite a shame he didn't take George Russell out, in fairness. But that is not good for Ferrari in their constructors fight. So at the moment, although we're not winning, of our competitors in the constructors, we are gaining the most points. And I'm pretty sure if we have a look at the standings in the constructors live, this will take us up. We'll be gaining 35 points. Red Bull just to 25. So we will have cut the gap down to 15 points. Lap 32, not a problem. It has not been a good day for Ferrari so far. Charles Leclerc has just binned it, and this is not a bad thing for us. Again, into the stadium section. It's a little tap on the wall. I say it's a little tap, it were a little bit more than that. But Charles Leclerc now down to P15. Ferrari will only be scoring points with one car, and that car will be Carlos Sainz. So at the moment, I'm just sat here and hoping that we don't make any errors. I don't think any cars are going to be coming in until the dry period around lap 62. So it's all the case of getting this right. We will be going onto the soft compounded tyre as well at the end. So a lot to consider here. We don't really want a safety car, to be fair. I think we can accept that Verstappen's got this in the bag, but we may manage to get second and third on the podium. Lap 45, it's all about waiting for that drying period. We are boxing, we're coming in early. The track should be just about dry by the time we come out of this pit stop. Fernando Alonso, perfect time for him to pit. Now the key's going to be getting past all these cars on intermediates. Let's hope for a good stop here. Pierre Gasly is in and out. Beautiful work from him. Fernando Alonso is in the pit as well. It's all about the traffic that we're going to have to negotiate. Pierre Gasly comes out on track in P3. Great work from the team. He's got George Russell to catch up to in a moment, which I'm sure we'll keep an eye on. Fernando Alonso, he's going to have a couple more cars to pass, but if he manages to drive in clean air, he should get past these no problem whatsoever. Fernando Alonso back out in P7. Let's see what we can do here. We're going to have to keep an eye on both these cars over the course of this lap and see what happens, because we don't want them losing time and stuck behind cars on intermediate tyres. But at the moment, they both seem in pretty decent condition. Lap 61. And there we have it. Russell's in, Ocon's in, Sainz in, Magnussen not quite at the moment. Alonso's had to push him through this final bit, but Russell is coming out of the pit lane. Has Fernando Alonso lost the position here? This is going to be absolutely crucial to the race. Fernando Alonso coming down the start-finish straight, and he's passed George Russell by some distance. 1.6 seconds the gap to Russell. Fernando Alonso is in P3, but on merit. Pierre Gasly has got a lovely gap. We're not going to tell Gasly to push at all. We're just going to now hope that both our cars can get towards the end. Max Verstappen still going round on intermediate tyres. I don't think he's going to have lost enough time because he's probably about half a lap in front of Pierre Gasly. Verstappen's got it in the bag. But Gasly and Alonso looking very, very good for podiums. What we don't want now is a safety car. Lap 63. Lap 63, new fastest lap of the race. Firstly, it was for Gasly, then it was for Fernando Alonso. Second and third, we've just told Gasly just to go light on the tyres, and to be fair, we may do that with Fernando Alonso depending on what happens with George Russell, but I'm a little bit wary that if George Russell catches us up, it may be a grandstand finish. So I'd rather Fernando keep in front by some distance, keep that ERS in hand, and go from there. If we have a look at the tyre wear, 87% for Russell and Ocon, 84 for Gasly and Alonso. We're not on the best tyres on the grid, but 63, lap 63, that shouldn't make too much of a difference. Second and third, Verstappen's in first, Russell P4, Ocon now up in P5, Sainz P6, Magnussen P7, Norris P8, Vettel P9, and Bottas in P10. But this is it, ladies and gentlemen, final lap. Max Verstappen's already crossed the line. Pierre Gasly, we're going to see coming through the stadium section. It's been a fantastic race for Pierre Gasly. He's going to come home second. It's a great result for him. We've been light on the tyres since that second pit stop. And Gasly crosses the line to finish P2. Fernando Alonso's had a little bit more work to do. Latifi were getting in the way a little bit, but he's managed to come across the line for P3 on the day. It's second and third for Aston Martin. Huge moves in the constructors standings. And very well done for both our drivers. Really, really well done. We can't complain with that. And let's have a look. I mean, it's been a while since we've had both cars finishing, to be fair, in decent positions. So we'll take this second and third. It puts us in good stead for the last couple of races. We've got Brazil next. Great work from them. Let's get to the podium, because we haven't seen the podium for a little bit.
Well, this weekend, Pierre Gasly flew us to the stars. A spot on the podium is exactly what the team deserved, and they got it. The Frenchman was in sublime form today, fully deserving of his podium finish here.
I think we've got to be very, very happy with that. It's nice to see two of our guys on the podium again. So the full classification is as follows. Max Verstappen continues his dominant season here, winning the Mexican Grand Prix. Pierre Gasly P2, Alonso P3, as we've just seen. Russell in P4, recovered very, very well after that spin. Ocon P5, Sainz P6, Norris P7, Vettel P8, Bottas P9, Lewis Hamilton in the Audi, gaining 10 places from the back of the grid in P10. Driver standings wise, Max Verstappen just extend his lead at the front of the driver standings. He's now won 10 races this season and 15 podiums. Pierre Gasly in P2. The gap is, what, 106 points now, so it's basically done. Carlos Sainz is in P3, Leclerc P4, but Fernando Alonso gaining them 15 points, absolutely crucial. It could mean that he could overtake Charles Leclerc, maybe even Carlos Sainz by the end of this season. Constructor standings though, that is where we are looking. Aston Martin, we gained 34 points from this race weekend, and we are now just 16 points behind Red Bull going into the final two races of the season, and Ferrari are 17 points behind us. It's been a bad weekend for Ferrari, but a good weekend for Aston Martin. I hope you've enjoyed that. Please do like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Have a cracking weekend.